Brian Watson, reporter Adarius McCormick has the story.
An 18-wheeler crashed into a DPS office in Brenham today. We have the number of people hurt and the condition of the driver.
And Victoria Regional Airport receives high remarks and a federal review of Texas airports.
Another cool start to tomorrow morning, then things start to warm up. I've got the details coming up in your forecast.
And playoff and zone implications over at the sports complex. I'll have that in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubeck.
And I'm Karina Garcia. A suspect is in custody after police allege he stole an 18-wheeler truck, creating a mass casualty incident in Brenham, Texas, a town 75 miles west of Houston.
First reports say the driver was denied a commercial driver's license there Thursday.
At least 16 people are injured after officials say a stolen 18-wheeler was intentionally driven into a Texas Department of Public Safety office in a rural town less than an hour and a half west of Houston. Stunning footage taken by ABC station KTRK shows a large red tractor trailer hauling material on a flatbed covered in debris, sitting near a gaping hole in the building entrance. Officials say 3 people were flown to the hospital in critical condition.
78-year-old male, blunt trauma to the chest and abdomen. Internal bleeding, highly suspected, altered level of consciousness.
According to officials from the Texas Department of Public Safety Southeast Texas region, the suspect intentionally ran into the Brenham DPS office. In a post on Facebook, Washington County Judge Mark Keough said that he was briefed by authorities and was told this incident was intentional and done by the suspect who was denied a CDL or commercial driver's license yesterday. He returned today with intent to harm.
We have several people that were injured and one is deceased at this time.
Texas Rangers are investigating the incident. No word on exact injuries at this time. Jacqueline Lee, ABC News, Los Angeles.
In a statement, State Senator District 18 Lois Kolkhorst said, quote, "This deliberate, heinous act is a reminder of the dangerous work done by our law enforcement and licensing agencies that work to provide public safety and services," unquote.
One person is in custody after a student was hurt in a shooting at a Dallas high school this morning. District police reported the shooting took place at Wilmer Hutchins High School shortly after 10:30 a.m. Dallas ISD police say one student was injured and transported to a hospital. They have a suspect in custody. Their identity has not been confirmed nor a motive. No other injuries have been confirmed at this time. Now, authorities arrested Beeville Mayor and the Crossroads' newest chief public defender, Brian Watson, on charges of misuse of official information last Thursday morning.
25 News Now reporter Darius McCormick says he could not speak directly to Brian Watson, but he did get to speak to Watson's attorney. Darius?
Brian Watson is set to manage the public defender's office for Victoria, Lavaca, Jackson, and Refugio County. However, recent headlines have caused some concerns about his new role. Watson faces allegations of misuse of information. He stands accused of obtaining official information from B County's district attorney's office. The information was tied to a criminal case against a former Beeville city councilman. Watson's attorney claims the Crossroads future public defender did no wrong.
That he is innocent of these charges. What he did is not a crime. Period. End of story.
However, the community's response is split, especially when Watson's joyous mugshot was released.
Who knows where they catch you in the process of doing that? What I will say is he definitely takes it seriously.
In response to our viewer poll, one viewer wrote, "He should be fired, not able to resign." Another one wrote, "Brian is a huge win for Victoria and an enormous loss for Beeville." The Strike Force Committee for the Texas Criminal Defense Lawyers Association stands with Brian Watson 100%.
I would hope people in the community would look at it as this case is a perfect example of why we need public defenders. He can afford to fight this. Lots of people who get indicted for things that either are not crimes or that they're just not guilty of don't have the funds to do it.
The Oversight Board of the Crossroads Regional Public Defender's Office plans to support Watson as well. Despite the indictment, the board unanimously voted for Watson to start as Chief Public Defender on May 6th. The board said, as is the case with any indictment, it is a legal issue that will be resolved within the court system. not in a meeting room. Brian Watson will appear in B County Courthouse on April 25th at 8 a.m. Then he starts his new role in the Crossroads on May 6th. Back to you guys at the desk.
Darius, thank you. A Victoria man was sentenced to 20 years in prison Friday. 29-year-old Aaron Lopez was convicted for injury to a child. Victoria police investigated serious injuries suffered by Lopez's 2-month-old child while under his care on November 13, 2023. They found the child was suffering from multiple injuries from blunt force trauma and neglect. The child continues to recover. Lopez will not be eligible for parole until he serves at least half of his sentence.
A 46-year-old suspect from Victoria was arrested by Victoria County deputies. Timothy Juarez faces 2 charges of manufacture and delivery of a controlled substance. He is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of a $100,000 bond. And Victoria police also arrested 43-year-old Lavaca County suspect Matthew Freeman. He faces 2 charges, including manufacture and delivery of a controlled substance. He is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of $50,500 bond.
Hallettsville police report a stolen vehicle. Between Wednesday and Thursday nights, a black 2020 Dodge Ram 1500, license plate number SYH 7979, was stolen from the 200 block of South Pecan Street. If you have any information on this theft, contact the Hallettsville Police Department at 361-798-3683. Let's take a first look at your forecast. In for First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez, meteorologist Scott Pitney has your forecast, and you know, a lot of people, Scott, want to know how it's going to be tomorrow for the big bicentennial celebration in Victoria.
One word, Don, great. And it has been quite a busy weather week between the eclipse and the severe weather that we've had in Texas. Now we are going to settle into a very calm pattern, and it's well deserved and needed for the Crossroads. 66 your feels like temperature, southeast winds at 8, dew point a very comfortable 58 degrees. We did get up to 81 degrees, close to our normal of 80, down to 53, just below our normal of 59. I'll have the rest of your weekend weather and all the details coming up. Don?
Scott, thank you. The U.S. House advanced the renewal of a critical national security surveillance law despite an earlier Republican revolt and pushback from former President Donald Trump.
The FBI director called this law indispensable, saying it's vital to protecting Americans, especially in the fight against terrorism.
After a chaotic week of infighting, House Speaker Mike Johnson pushed through the renewal of a powerful national security surveillance program.
The yeas are 273, the nays are 147.
The FBI calling the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, or FISA, critical to the security of all Americans, especially in the fight against terrorism.
Our most immediate concern has been that individuals or small groups will draw some kind of twisted inspiration from the events in the Middle East to carry out attacks here at home.
The FISA law allows U.S. intelligence agencies to collect the communications of foreign nationals without a warrant. It sometimes collects data on Americans who interact with persons of interest.
If they don't follow the exceptions and they're searching Americans, searching your name, your phone number, your email address in this giant database, that should scare us.
The revised version shortens the law's lifespan from 5 years to 2 years. The House also narrowly voting down an amendment which would have prohibited warrantless searches of U.S. person communications with exceptions for imminent threats to life or bodily harm. The failed amendment was introduced by a group of bipartisan lawmakers, including Representative Pramila Jayapal.
We should not be expanding FISA. We should be creating safeguards to protect foundational civil liberties rights.
Meanwhile, Speaker Mike Johnson is meeting today with former President Trump in Florida to discuss election integrity.
I don't ever comment on my private conversations with President Trump, but I'm looking forward to going to Florida and spending some time.
The House still needs to vote on whether to reconsider the legislation before it can head to the Senate. The deadline to reauthorize the FISA law before it lapses is next Friday. M. Nguyen, ABC News, Washington.
Workers continue to clear debris from the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers say they are making significant progress clearing the waters. Crews are lifting massive pieces of steel, surveying the wreckage underwater, and calculating how to remove bridge debris buried 30 feet down in the mud. Temporary channels remain open for small vessels. ABC News reports the bridge collapse has cost 8,000 jobs, and the goal is to open a larger channel to the Port of Baltimore by the end of the month.
The Victoria Regional Airport gets high remarks in a federal review of Texas airports in 2023. The Department of Transportation's Bureau of Transportation Statistics show that of all 26 Texas airports, Victoria Regional had the highest number of on-time flights at almost 90%. The study shows Victoria Regional had fewer than 13% of flights delayed.
Are 1%, less than 1% of the flights last year were canceled. So it's a huge mark, and that would probably make people comfortable in Victoria to fly out of Victoria Regional Airport.
That less than 1% of arriving flights canceled figure is tied for the best in the survey.
UHV, VC's Museum of the Coastal Bend, and the City of Victoria hosted a bicentennial history symposium ahead of Victoria's 200th birthday tomorrow. The two-day event was free and open to the public and provided an in-depth history of Victoria with panels and speakers that covered everything from the De Leon family, prehistoric Victoria, and artifacts, Victoria's civil rights, and monuments. Jeff Wright is the executive director of Victoria Preservation.
You know, Victoria is one of the most interesting places, you know, in my humble opinion, not just in Texas, but in the country. We've got some great history, some wonderful stories.
There were also presentations on the Karankawas, the first indigenous peoples in Victoria, the history of the Victoria Jewish community, and the history of Foster Field. Here's your viewer poll tonight. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. Here's the question. Are you going to Victoria's bicentennial celebration Saturday? Yes or no? 24% say yes, 76% say no. Right now we're planning to meet that 24% tomorrow in downtown Victoria, De Leon Plaza. Thanks so much for voting.
And speaking of the bicentennial, 3 streets in downtown Victoria will close Saturday for the home of the Six Flags Market. Closed from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. will be Main Street between Constitution Street and Goodwin Avenue, Bridge Street between Constitution and Forest Streets, and Constitution Street between Bridge and Main Street. It's part of Victoria's bicentennial celebration.
Happy birthday, Victoria, 200. She doesn't look a day over 123.
Oh, she looks fantastic.
Yeah. Hey, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. A fatal carjacking in Florida is under investigation. Coming up on 25 News now at 10, the dash cam footage of the incident and what people know so far.
Also ahead in health news, trials involving babies born with HIV is getting some traction. That story tonight. Here's a look at what's coming up on Community Crossroads this weekend. We first sit down with Victoria College to discuss dual credit courses, followed by Parkinson Awareness Day and the City of Victoria and Brother Gary Moses, and we end with the Victoria Art League.
The artwork is beautiful, and it ranges from painting to drawing to photography. It's a little stressful because my students do participate.
A body found in a burned out vehicle is believed to be that of a missing woman targeted in an armed carjacking in Florida. Today, authorities released dash cam footage from Thursday of the incident. The victim is believed to be a 31-year-old woman. However, dental records and DNA still need to be confirmed. Authorities say she called her husband and told him someone was following her and ramming her bumper, but they didn't contact police. That's when someone was caught on camera pointing a gun and getting into her vehicle.
Or so prior to that intersection, she started to notice that the green Acura was behind her, and the Acura was actually ramming into her back bumper at that time.
Authorities say they drove to a rural area where a body was later found inside a heavily damaged vehicle. The motive for the incident is currently unknown.
A medical trial involving babies born with HIV is giving some hope that early drug treatment can send the virus into remission in some newborn patients.
In a trial funded by the National Institutes of Health, 6 children who were born with HIV were given HIV medication within 48 hours of birth. 4 of these children who stopped treatment were found to be in remission of HIV for at least 1 year. Remission can be defined as the absence of replicating virus for at least 48 weeks off of HIV medication. This shows that very early treatment helps the baby's immune system stop storing the virus, which increases the hope of HIV remission. It supports the theory that if HIV is suppressed at a young age, people can go into remission. These results are groundbreaking for researchers. It is crucial that all babies potentially exposed to HIV during pregnancy be immediately tested so they can get started on a treatment as soon as possible. With this Medical Minute, I'm Christiane Cordero.
Today, the White House announced President Biden is canceling $7.4 billion in student loans for 277,000 borrowers. This latest round helps borrowers enrolled in the Saving on a Valuable Education Repayment Plan, as well as those in income-driven repayment or public service loan forgiveness plans. With its latest move, the administration has now canceled $153 billion in debt for 4.3 million Americans.
Texas Tribune reports that most 18-year-old Texans are not registered to vote despite a law requiring voter registration in high schools. You can read this article on crossroadstoday.com.
High pressure settling in around the state of Texas, giving us all nice weather for the weekend. I've got your forecast coming up next. Stay with us. And welcome back. These are the kind of headlines we like to see going into the weekend. Beautiful weekend coming up, mostly sunny skies, although it is going to get a little bit breezy tomorrow, but not too bad. Our next rain chances don't come until Thursday, so enjoy while you can. Do have a few high clouds moving in through from West Texas, although that is really much where all the clouds are for the central part of the United States. We have this storm system that's brought a lot of stormy conditions up to the northeast. It's also the same system that came through and brought our severe weather earlier this week. And then we have this storm system out on the west coast. This is going to be affecting our weather toward the end of the week. Here's that high pressure that's dominating the state of Texas. Like all high pressures do, this one will move off to the east. When it does, we'll see that southerly flow return to our area. Things will start to warm up. We'll start to feel that humidity creep back into the air as well. And then as soon as that high settles out there, we see our next front. This is Tuesday. Models are starting to show a little more activity around our area. So we'll continue to watch this, and like all models tend to adjust, we might increase those rain chances as we get closer to the period. But right now we're going to say 30–40% chance. And then moving on to Wednesday, that front moving off to the east, and we'll see clearer skies again looking like for next weekend. Right now temperatures mostly in the 60s, a few 70s along the coast where you expect it to be a little bit warmer in the evening. Those dew points very comfortable in the 50s, few 60s along the coast. Again, a little more moisture along the coast. When those dew points are in the 50s, it is just feeling very nice outside. Our high temperatures tomorrow mostly in the 80s. We see a few 90s in West Texas, that dry air heating up a little bit more, although it's not going to feel like 90 because of the dry air. But a few 90s, Abilene, San Angelo, 90, 93 in Laredo. Marine Future Tracker, great day to be out on the water. Again, a little bit breezy, but still not too bad as far as temperatures. Those winds starting off pretty light in the morning and then picking up toward the afternoon. Notice the southeasterly flow picking up as that high moves off. Then the temperatures near 80 along the coast, a little bit cooler out over the water, but notice the winds 10 to 15. We also see some wind gusts up to 25 miles per hour, and that is going to be the same pattern for Sunday. If you are closer to the coast, here's Port Lavaca marine weather. High tide 6:21 p.m., low tide 6:18 a.m. Those southeast winds at 10 to 15 knots, waves 2 to 3 feet, and the bay water slightly choppy. Your bay water temperature 74 out in the Gulf, just a degree higher at 75 degrees. Waking up to 73 in Port Lavaca. Could see a few clouds in the morning, 79 by noon. Still some clouds sticking around. Then we expect sunny skies by 3 o'clock. Notice the temperature not changing too much. Cooling off just a tad bit at 77 by 6 with sunny skies. A little bit cooler in Cuero at 67 in the morning. Cloudy to partly cloudy skies, then warming up a little bit hotter to 81 by 3 o'clock. Still very pleasant. Sunny skies, and then your sunset temperature at Cuero 79 degrees. For the rest of us, Victoria, partly cloudy, 83 southeast winds 10 to 15. Again, the gusts could be up to 20–25 miles per hour. Mid 60s for your low. Those temperatures just gradually creeping up. Notice the clouds, a few more clouds because of the moisture coming in. A lot of those, the high cloud variety, and then those chances of rain increasing toward the end of the week with the approach of the front. You can download the Crossroads app today, get the latest in news, weather, and sports at your fingertips, plus sign up for email alerts, and it's free. Here's Zach Brown with sports.
Thank you, Scott. We have potential playoff implications over at the sports complex. I'll have highlights coming up in sports. Victoria East and West in action over at the sports complex, not playing each other, different teams, and the West ladies with a 15 spot in the first inning, and they slowly add to that in the later innings, trying to put the Miller Buccaneers away. A triple off the bat of Michaela Davis gets the ladies in business. The next batter does a good job of just putting it in play to bring her home to give the West ladies 16 runs on the evening. After a Jordan Janik double, Kayla Garcia just dumps one into right, and it's just fair, and it's going to bring Janik home. The West ladies do their job, get the easy win, 17-5, and now they can scoreboard watch because just across the sidewalk, the East girls taking on the Ray Texans, and their game much closer. West trying to grab first if the Titans were to lose. They were down 5-4 after 4 innings, but the Titans woke their bats up in the bottom of the fourth, scoring 9 times, and they needed just about every single run because they just did hang on to get the 14-10 win. And so since both of those teams won, this round robin that we talked about earlier stands put. The season's been crazy for East and West, and the East swept that series, and it threw a wrench in the Warriors' plans to try to take that top spot. So here are these scenarios. West travels to Gregory Portland tomorrow afternoon, and the winner of that game will play Victoria East next Thursday here at the sports complex. Game 3 is an if necessary situation. If the winner of game 1 also wins game 2, then East will play the loser of game 1. So we will probably get an East versus West part 3 with some playoff implications on the line. Other scores around the area: the Shiner ladies beat the Ganado Maidens again. Final score in this one, 8-5. Shiner already clinched the district title for the first time since 2019, but this one just another impressive win against another great team. And in that same complex, the Shiner boys with a massive win over Ganado, who was trying to win a district title for the first time since 1996. Shiner gets the win 6-1. Those two tied atop the district standings as we currently stand. In Bremen Nation, the boys defeated the Rice Consolidated Raiders 9-4. Hallettsville now 8-3 in district play, 3 games behind first place with only 3 games to go. In another game, another shutout win for the Hallettsville Lady Brahmas, who now have 15 shutouts on the season. This is their 3rd in a row. They are still undefeated in district at 12-0. And in Cuero, the girls, well, they got a shutout win themselves. They win 10-0 over Gonzales, and with that win, they are your district champions. That's it for your sports. Donna, Karina, back to you.
Thanks, Zach, and stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10, we're going to take a last look at your weather. Plus, get your game on for tomorrow because it is National Scrabble Day.
Ape in Germany, Berlin Zoo is celebrating the 67th birthday of Fatu the gorilla, its oldest resident and possibly the oldest gorilla in the world. Fatou was born in 1957 and came to the zoo in what was then West Berlin in 1959. The zoo said there is no gorilla older than her in any other zoo and assumed there are no gorillas older than her in the wild. Fatou became the zoo's oldest resident only recently, following the death earlier of Ingo the flamingo this year. The bird was believed to be at least 75 and it lived at the zoo since 1955. Wow. 3 sailors were rescued after being stranded on a tiny Pacific atoll for more than a week. The U.S. Coast Guard rescued the sailors after spotting a help sign made from palm tree leaves. The 3 men were found Tuesday evening that had survived on coconuts and water from a well on the island after becoming stranded on a fishing trip. According to the U.S. Coast Guard, the sailors, who are all in their 40s and related to one another, were rescued in good health. And the sailors said they wouldn't have made it out without help from the professor. Now, I tell you what.
Sounds like another good movie.
I get it.
You get it. Okay, I was waiting.
And Mary Ann and all the rest.
Ah, yes. And Thurston B.
No,
Howell.
I never
Thurston B. Howell.
Gilligan's Island?
I know that.
Okay,
that's
okay.
that was the reference. I picked up on it. But that's an incredible story. It's almost, a real castaway except 4 people. So.
Well, this is not a good weekend to stay inside and watch Gilligan's Island reruns.
This
Get
is a
out
very
and do some
bad weekend to stay inside. I agree. I'm gonna be like Fatou and eat a lot of. I noticed he eats a lot of salad. I think that's right.
Yeah.
The secret to his longevity. So good weekend to get out, do some gardening, whatever you'd like to do. Partly cloudy skies tomorrow. A little bit breezy. Going to feel that humidity creeping in just a little bit tomorrow into Sunday. And then those temperatures rise a little bit for the rest of the week. And then the rain chances increase toward the end of the week. And then we cool off again just in time for the weekend.
All righty, thank you, Scott. And now Saturday is National Scrabble Day. It marks the birthday of its inventor, Alfred Butts, who was born on April 13th, 1899. The game is now so popular, it's sold in 121 countries and played in 29 different languages. More than 150 million Scrabble sets have been sold, and you can enjoy the day by playing with family at home or online and posting a selfie for National Scrabble Day.
All right.
Yeah.
You got 5 points for that.
One of my tricks is to use Arabic words, and I get a lot more points. They don't know if I'm telling the truth or not, But it works.
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't know if that's fair.
It's not, but it does work, though.
All righty. Well, thank you for joining us for 25 News Now at 10.
Join us for 25 News Now Weekend this weekend. Have a good one.